There's no doubt electric vehicles are the future, and while many obstacles still stand in the way of uptake here in South Africa, it's worth comparing the cost per kilometer of internal combustion and electric vehicles, especially with petrol costs through the roof right now. Andrew Blaine is a senior instructor with Jaguar Land Rover Experience Johannesburg, and he was recently tasked with tracking the consumption and costs of going fully electric. Andrew, thank you so much for your time. First off, how do you accurately compare the two, the internal combustion engine versus the electric car? What's the right methodology? And then what did you find on your drive?
So what we've done is we did a simple test of using energy figures only, not full AA rates, just trying to see what the petrol or diesel price would be relative to the same sort of driving style. So we look at a R2 per kilowatt hour at your home electricity rate. And if we look at the Jaguar I-Pace, it's a 90 kilowatt hour battery. So effectively, we had just under 200 Rand to completely fully charge the vehicle. And then we wanted to see how many kilometers we'd get, and then we would divide that Rand value to the kilometers we achieved.
And what did you find in your experiment?
It was a very surprising excursion for us because I didn't expect with a vehicle with the amount of performance that you get out of the electric vehicles to be able to run such a cheap cost per kilometer. We looked at around 44 cents per kilometer traveled with our electric Jaguar.
How do things like heavy traffic and whether you're driving on country roads versus city roads, how do things like that affect the cost of running the two?
That was quite a surprising excursion for us where we have to sort of change our mindset. As it stands, we get better range with our internal combustion engines because the engine's not working as hard at higher speeds. However, it's very different with an electric vehicle for one very specific reason, is when you slow it down, the vehicle has the ability to recharge and recuperate energy so nothing is wasted. It's come down to almost a one-pedal driving strategy. So you want to reap more rewards driving in and around town because every stop street and every traffic light you slow down for, that gets some energy back. Versus if you're on the open road, then you're not regenerating as much. So it's very much the opposite to what we currently know.
Is our electric vehicle adaptation increasing in South Africa? Are we seeing more people turning to electric despite the issues that we have with Eskom?
We always do like the Eskom chat, and we'd like to apply the mindset of relating your vehicle to your cell phone. You only get load shed for a couple of hours at a worst case scenario, and you're able to charge outside of those times. We also encourage charging through off-peak rates because, number one, you get better electricity rates and you don't put as much pressure onto the grid. So you can very comfortably work around Eskom just like you do with your cell phone.
The cost of running the electric vehicle might be less than an internal combustion vehicle. But I find a lot of people complaining that the electric vehicles are not very accessible. Isn't the entry price for an electric vehicle still very high in South Africa? Is that going to change?
Correct. You know, at the moment, if we're comparing a Jaguar I-Pace, this is an absolutely high-performance SUV. And let's just compare apples with apples there. It's something that's similar in performance as an SUV would be costing you R2.60 per kilometer, almost 6 times as much as you would have the Jaguar I-Pace. So at the moment with the vehicles that we have on the market right now, we're looking at quite high performance luxury SUVs. And I think this is just an important reflection to say that as manufacturers are growing, as manufacturers are offering more and more vehicles which will become more accessible, then it's a running cost for everybody would be something to consider.
Do you know how many options South Africans have now when it comes to electric vehicles? I know some companies have entire fleets of electric vehicles now. How many options do we have as South Africans?
Well, I think keep your eyes peeled. This is probably one of the biggest years in adoption in our country because as it stands, we're expecting anywhere between another 30 and 40 different brand new electric vehicles to be reaching our markets.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Andrew Blaine, a senior instructor with Jaguar Land Rover Experience Johannesburg, talking to us about electric vehicles versus internal combustion vehicles.